Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm a nursery shipping specialist.
I'm Casey. I'm also a produce shipping specialist.
Over my 10 years, I've moved over 38.5 million pounds of plants.
I've moved over 50 million pounds of produce.
So we ship trees, shrubbery, even flowers that you'll see at like Home Depot and Lowe's, and a lot of different plants that will go to like mom and pop landscape centers and things of that nature.
Yeah, and then in produce, it's everything that is produce, right? But the most common ones you're gonna see is your berries, apples, oranges, and then also your hard goods like potatoes and squash and avocados and cucumbers, stuff like that, that's gonna be shipping year-round almost, so.
With produce, I've really tried to help people understand the importance of eating dried grapes and things of that nature. Just feel like I'm doing my part trying to raise an awareness.
That's even better, because it like goes out.
So the peak season with nursery is typically starts around February and goes through July. But with the climate in the U.S. in the southern states, you can actually ship year-round. We literally ship from all four corners of the U.S., anywhere from Oregon, Connecticut, Georgia, California, all over the U.S. to different parts.
On the produce side, it's actually just dependent on when and where it comes out of. So the primary produce season, which we see, is usually between May and October, but it really depends on the actual product, right? So California comes up to speed in May into the summer months, where you're gonna get your southeast that's gonna get ramped up in the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And then in between that, you have your hard produce goods like potatoes and stock goods that are gonna actually harvest in the fall and spring kind of months. So it really actually just depends on where it's picking up and when it's picking up on the actual season in which we're transporting. You're a produce expert as much as I am a produce. You're more of an expert than I am.
Well, with Huron, we've had a lot of...
Yeah, 17 years of experience combined.
Ooh. That's an aha moment.
Everything has to be moved mostly in refrigerated trucks. And inside those refrigerated trucks is where we can protect the product at a certain temperature, right? It goes all the way to 0, -10 sometimes, right? You go all the way up to 65 degrees. Plants especially need to be
right around 55 degrees.
About 55, and it's called freeze protect. So we're protecting it depending on the region in which it's shipping to. So temperature fluctuations is probably the most important thing with nursery and produce stock. A lot of produce can go to waste in transit, but a lot of that's being mitigated right now by proper packaging. When the packaging kind of gets enhanced, so does the product life of a lot of this produce, so it keeps it fresher for longer, so the produce season actually gets bigger.
Well, with nursery, a lot of times you're gonna have multiple stops in order to make it more cost effective. So with that, you often will need load bars in order to keep the plants from tipping. And also, depending on the climate or where we're shipping out of, it may require a reefer to make sure that the plants stay cool and don't dry out over long hauls.
Depending on what you're actually moving is dependent on how we transport it. And the good thing about England Logistics, and the thing that we like the best, is the ability we have to fluctuate with that, right? We can put it into, hopper trucks. We can put things as far as like potatoes go as bottom feeders, right? And then what we can also do is fluctuate based on racks in vans, and it's just really cool on how we can mold based on the product type itself.
3, 2, 1.
Thanks for watching. I'm Nick.
I'm Casey.
Thanks for watching.
Oh my God.
Did we get it or no?
Bad. That's so bad. Even Alex is like, I don't know.